Well, first of all, thank you for obviously coming on, and I know you're very busy with everything, so I really appreciate you taking the time. I want just to get basically your basketball journey. What's been for me growing up, seeing you play. I had a chance to witness it a bit more in front when we went to the 3x3 together as well. So that was the last time I played. Yes, I've been stalking you on Instagram and it looked like it. Yes. And that was a very good realization for me because obviously growing up, I had the canteen here, so I was watching you a lot. And for me, like I was telling you before, this podcast is an excuse kind of to get into it, have this conversation. Exactly. And obviously, you're one of the most decorated basketball players, not women, just in general, because I was going through your achievements and stuff and what you achieved abroad, which was amazing. So, kind of the first question I wanted to get into, how did you get into basketball? First of all, thank you for having me. I've watched a few and super cool. As in basketball, it was my life for so long, so it's really cool. Yeah. How did I get into basketball? I loved sports and anything movement based, so it didn't really matter what I was doing, just as long as I was moving when I was a kid. But basically, I first got into football. Like I wanted to play football. I think it's like the most played sport in Malta. And so obviously when I used to go out at school or whatever, everyone would be playing football. And I remember talking to my parents and saying, "Can I play football?" And they were like, football is usually something which boys play. I mean, this is way back when. And my father came back and said, how did you feel about playing basketball? And I was like, okay, sounds interesting. I hadn't played. And he had some. Yes, one of his school friends was a coach. Ah, okay. He was actually Kirsten's dad. Okay. Ah, okay. And I remember going to Luxor and I played the one. And I remember playing and it was just like, okay, this is fun. Let's go. And that was it, to be honest. And I actually lived there. As soon as I started, I was just always at Luxor, playing outside with anyone that had a ball. I mean, growing up, I was always there. So it was football, basketball. Yeah. So about I was speaking to my family as well that I'm going to have this interview with you, and my mom I told her you remember some things about Christina and stuff, and she told me what I remember is that I always used to see her shooting and the rim non-stop every day. So what made you obviously playing a sport is one thing, we have a lot of people that play a sport and play basketball, but you obviously you train so much to gain the edge on everyone else. So what made you, is it because the love of the game or is it just your competitive instinct that you want to be the best? I feel doesn't really have to do with being the best. This is how I am in general. I have to enjoy it. If I'm having fun, then as in when I was younger, I didn't have responsibilities, so it was way easier than now. But I am the same now. But when I was younger, I was obsessed with movement. As I said, I remember my parents would still tell me now to this day, we'd go to friends and their friends would be like, "I'm sorry, the kids are not here," and my mom would just be like, "Do you have a ball?" And I would just spend hours just in the garden, just by myself playing, and that's how I grew up. And as in, if there was somebody to play with, great. If there wasn't, that was fine as well. So it's just I just enjoyed it so much that I was just always playing. It didn't matter where I was. If I was home alone, it was me in the garden breaking everything. If I was able to get out, I was always running around Leah playing with anyone or everyone. Yes. I don't know, it's just how I am in general. And then so the youth system, you were always with Luxor? I was at Luxor, I don't know years, but I think at about 13, if I'm not mistaken, I switched teams. I played with Loyola. Okay. That was the first team I moved to. After Loyola, I believe I went abroad. Okay. So then I was about 16, 17, I went abroad. Okay, that's what I wanted to lead to. How did
that's come about? Like, obviously, I think you were having success in Malta. You were obviously one of the best players. That's how the opportunity came. But how did the opportunity come? You went to like a FIBA tournament, got scouted there, or you just
I remember, I don't remember exactly how it went, but I remember that when I was younger, I went to like a summer camp,
okay?
and one of the coaches had said, "Why don't you come and play?" And I had gone out for a summer.
Okay.
I was younger than when I left.
Okay.
And I remember coming back and them saying if I'd like to play. It was in Santa Marinella, I think. I don't even know. Anyways, but I was a bit too young then, and my mom obviously schooled, so
Yeah.
that's not a possibility. So as soon as I was able to kind of go abroad, a bit of as in I was 16, I was still young, but as soon as I was a bit older, I took the opportunity. I'm not sure what brought it around. I played in Pomezia in Rome. I can't remember what it was or who. I can't remember, to be honest.
Okay.
We always had like Santino as one of the national coaches, so we're always encouraged.
Okay. But
But
you
I
were
didn't go with
actively
Santino.
you were actively looking to go abroad, or
I
it was
think it's
just like
like
an
every
opportunity?
basketball. I don't know.
Yes.
It's like every dream, right? You always want to play in America.
Yes. Yes.
As in America wasn't a possibility way back when.
Okay.
So Europe was. And I remember going when I was like 15, but it was too early. Then I went when I was 16. I still probably think it was too early because I didn't have the
16.
best experience.
Okay, that's what I was. How was it?
So when I went, I was second year secondary school. Not sure.
Okay.
I remember I had left like after the first year, and so I was still studying. My mom wasn't the happiest. Um, but I went, and I didn't speak any Italian, which was a problem because I was going to Rome, and back then nobody spoke English.
Okay.
So I really struggled with that aspect of it. Like I struggled to make friends. I struggled to just have a regular chat with anybody. To be honest, I didn't go to school, so that was also tough because obviously, when I played, I was playing. I think I was training with Serie Uno. I was playing with Serie B. And then I was playing with the under I don't under I can't remember what, but with the youth team. Um, and so the people was living with were semi-professional, so there were some of them were working and then playing after work or whatnot. So I was alone a lot.
Yeah. At 16.
Yeah, and when I wasn't, I couldn't speak because I didn't know Italian very well. I was very shy.
Okay.
So I really struggled with that aspect. I remember sitting down with the dictionary, trying to talk with my housemates,
You
and
didn't have Duolingo.
it was really, really tough. In fact, I spent a year and a half and I wasn't happy at all. I remember I was actually almost a bit depressed. I used to like try and sleep to try to get rid of the day. I ended up hating basketball. It was a bit of a tough situation. I found it really hard to tell my parents because it's like what I needed to do to be professional in my head. I was very young. And then once they found out, I never looked like I didn't go back. I left everything. I like came home for Christmas, and my sister was like discussing with me. She found out I wasn't the happiest.
Yes, yeah.
And then I was like, I don't want to go, but as soon as it came out, I never went back. Like it was like I didn't even want to go back to get my clothes. I was like, I'm not going.
Okay.
So it was very tough. Um, but I think it was just because I was too young, basically.
Yeah, so
Because then I went abroad
the
when I was
language as
older.
well.
Well, then?
Not knowing the language didn't help, obviously.
Yes,
especially at
and I was very shy. Like the second time I went into it, because then I played again in Sicily. I was older and I went into it saying, you know what, if I make mistakes, everyone can laugh, it's fine. But when I was younger, as soon as I try and talk, your friends would make fun of you, and I used to like,
get embarrassed.
it was very tough for me.
Yeah, but
So,
sometimes you need that a bit of maturity. That's like it's okay if you
yes,
fuck up or whatever. That's good.
100%.
Vera.
Yeah, and obviously the fact that I didn't go to school was also many hours of me doing nothing, like playing a little bit in the morning, playing in the evening. But I think like that was quite big for me. Yeah, it was it was an experience. I
Yes.
wouldn't say if I had to redo it, I would still do it because I gained a lot from it, but it was very hard for me. So yeah.
Yeah. No, to be honest, when I think of certain situations, it's it's all right. Like for example, this might be a bit of a negative experience, but in a way, like it makes you grow as a player and as a
100%.
person. So whatever happens, kind of, you always have that. And basketball wise, how did you feel? Like obviously, language aside, was even
So
basketball
because
wise.
of it, because I wasn't happy, I didn't enjoy it.
Okay.
In fact, when I came back, I didn't play. I
Okay.
came back in Christmas and I didn't play the rest of the season. I
And then
was
you
like,
went
and then I went to England to
to
study
Sheffield, right?
to Sheffield. I picked the university based on the basketball team because Sheffield Hatters have a very
Okay.
good basketball team. It was a better experience. Like I loved university life in England. It was really fun. But um, again, I played with the city team, and I didn't have the best experience. And I said I'm not going through this again, and
Stopped.
I stopped at the
Okay.
university. I think I played a year.
Okay. And what was like? It was the same reason, or it was just
No, it was
technically.
a bit different, and so the language barrier wasn't there. Like I was fine. Obviously, everyone spoke English. I was speaking English. So I did make friends. I did have my own like group or whatever. But they were a group who they already had their set positions, and it was
Okay.
as if I was
Intruder, yeah.
exactly. So and I had a bad experience, and I was like, I don't want this. So I was just like, I did play the bit, and then I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna play with my university team. Like we went to, I think it's called BUNAC. I can't remember what it's called. But we ended up doing really well with the university team, even though the basketball was very different to the university.
Okay.
Very different to what I was used to.
And what was like the main differences?
Um, in uni, it was like you join a sport. Like everyone just joins a sport to make friends, right? So there are like beginners, and there are more advanced, and there were a few people that played in America, but it was all levels. Um, with the city team, they had played basketball, but it was still different to Italian. But like basketball in Italy. I feel like they're very defensive in Italy. Whereas in England, it was a little bit different. But
It's more relaxed.
yeah,
I
it
know.
was a bit different.
Okay. And how did you find the gap in the level? So you obviously you twice you came through Malta, and then you're training with Auna. So I guess the level had to be
Yes.
higher.
No, for sure. The level was insane. I
Yeah.
was training with them. But I feel like in Malta, the potential is the same. It's just, they probably just take it a bit more seriously. They like defend like no other. Whereas in Malta, we tend to be a bit lazier, I feel. I don't want to insult anyone, but I feel like we're less fit for sure. Like the fitness is key over there. If you're not fit, you're not gonna be on the floor. So I feel like those are the um, the biggest differences. But like everyone can play. It's
Yeah.
just you just need to defend. You need to work hard. Like the work ethic is a bit different.
The mentality is a bit more.
I feel like in Malta we're a bit more. We want to do well, like we want to do well in everything. That's how we are more than work and basketball and this and the other. And it's impossible. Like you have priorities, and always school takes priority.
Of
So
course. No, of course. And like you said before, US was never an option. And to be honest with the like knowing how the playing style is in the US, having spoken to different people, obviously I was there a couple of months, so I got to know as well. And I think you would have really fit in well in that system. You as a player, obviously other things.
so when I was older, I did go to America, but I went to work.
Okay.
So last year of uni in England, they give you these opportunities to go work
Okay.
in camps. And you could pick different styles of camps. So like the camp I applied for was a sports camp. The facilities were crazy. It's like my dream as a kid.
Of
You know
course.
what I mean? There were like some 3 basketball courts outdoor, one indoor, gym. Anyway, it was insane. So I went as a counselor and as a coach, but a fitness coach.
Okay.
So it was like couple of months. You with the kids. The ages were varied of these kids. And they basically drop their kids off for summer school, and you are their coach, and then you kind of bunk with them. Anyway, it's like quite this. It's quite big in England. They do it. And when I went to teach fitness, but and weight training. But obviously, the first thing I did was pick up a ball, right?
Yeah, of course.
As we all do.
Especially there.
Yeah, and they were like American coaches who were playing professionally in Germany. And so as soon as I started playing, they were like basically became like a small crew of coaches that were we used to like play every second which we got. And me being me, it was literally I was back to professional. I used to wake up before, play basketball. Anyway, I got this opportunity at the end of it to somebody came to me and they were like, "Listen, do you want to play basketball in America? We can get you a scholarship, Division 1." And I was like, "Oh my God, amazing! Like this is the dream." But I had already played in Italy, professional, semi-pro. I had played in England, so by the end of it, it didn't come around. No.
So
But it
like
was so close. I remember I was so sad. So I was like, I can't believe I got this close to like the dream as a kid. And
because you have at that time like you couldn't.
so usually if you play, I can't say that I was professional, but semi-pro. I was.
Yes.
If you play professionally abroad, then you won't be eligible for a scholarship, and also there are specific amount of years apparently. So if you spend 3 years playing basketball, then you have like 1 year left, and nobody's gonna recruit for 1 year. I don't really know the rules, but they didn't pan out, and it was quite. So they were quite certain that it was like a no-brainer, like I could play in quite a high division, but.
And how was that? Like, and then you came back to Malta to play in Malta.
So then I played. So because of that camp, I decided I'm gonna play again.
Okay.
So 'cause I had so much fun over summer. I was like, and they were telling me you can play in Germany, and they were trying to like the coaches that were all playing overseas were all trying to get me to play again. And I remember deciding there and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna like train and go back. I'm gonna do the rest of the season in Malta, and then I'm gonna try and find another team. And I spoke to Santino, who was like the person I knew I could get a team with. And I told him, and after that season, I went up to play in Sicily, and I had the best time there. I love Sicily.
Okay, that was good. So between Sheffield and so first Italy, then you went to Sheffield, then this experience in the US, and then you went back to Italy. So you didn't come back to.
Yeah, I went back to Malta. I finished off the season, and then I went to because I said I need to play again because I wasn't playing.
And how was it like you? Because sometimes you get used to a certain level, and then you come back to Malta. Was it a struggle for you to adjust or not really?
I don't believe so. I don't know. I don't remember much. But I was like quite high. So if I decide something, then I'm just gonna live and breathe it.
Okay.
So I remember waking up, training in the morning, like even when I was in America.
Yes.
It was as if I was, I don't know.
Not doing it, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not. I don't feel like it's the norm. Like any players in Malta, don't. I maybe the boys. I don't know about the girls, but
no, not even the boys.
like I remember leaving work, coming to play, and I'd spend whatever time I could going back, then going back to training in the evening. Like I was quite determined with that, but it was just because I enjoyed it. Like
yeah. Nice. And then the second stint in Sicily was a much better one.
Yes, loved it.
Okay.
I had a different mentality going in. I was a lot older. I just had generally I had a great time. It was really tough for me to come back. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And so the difference is you think like because obviously you learned Italian. No, I don't.
Yeah.
think so. I learned Italian.
I was better. No, I didn't learn Italian. As soon as I went, I had a bit more of a because I spent a year and a half right in Rome, so I did know a bit of Italian. I was just too shy to like try it out and make mistakes. And obviously that's how you learn a language.
Yeah.
So when I went into it, I was like, you know what, like let's make mistakes.
Exactly. Nice.
And
Sometimes you just need a difference in perspective, kind of, because you went through it, you knew kind of what you're getting into, you know, like what you have to do to not have a bad experience again in a way.
yes,
So you go back with a different mentality would make the world of a difference, kind
for
of.
sure. I learned, as I said, like I would never take anything back. I would do everything exactly the same because it taught me so much.
Of course, even now here, you would
For sure.
apply a lot of things that happened wrong or right. Like sometimes that's how you.
For
you
sure.
get the
Basketball comes up in every conversation I have still to this day. Even with my athletes at the gym, like all the experiences I've had, mostly bad experiences, are the ones which I talk about the most.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Even like how I say, like I think maybe it's sport in general because I'm exposed to basketball, it's what I relate to. But it teaches you so much about life, like life in general, even like every situation you struggle with, kind of, it makes it easier because you went through a similar thing, kind of. And the fact that it's a team sport, it helps a lot as well because you deal with a lot of different people, how to try to get the best out of different
100%.
people. It's such a teacher. It's true.
100%. And I don't know, I always grew up as the underdog. So,
Yeah.
like with most of the teams, we're always the young ones trying to go into Division One or whatever. So I lost so much growing up, and it taught me so much.
Of course.
Like to take risks, to like not be scared, to I don't know. And it's things that like now I still compete in different things
Yeah.
in CrossFit and high rocks, and I still have lots of teammates because those are the most fun competitions. And I'm always saying the exact same things like let's just do it, whatever, we'll fail, we'll get better.
Of course. Yeah, sometimes, and as well, sometimes like there's a lot, I do it myself as well. There's a lot of like this self expectation you have and the pressure you put on yourself. And even for me, I had these couple of months which I wasn't in Malta. It helped me realize a lot of things. Like it's just I'm the only one that's putting this pressure on myself. You know, there's no one else.
Expectations, your own expectations.
Exactly, which is it's so stupid when you say it out loud, but sometimes they're the toughest ones that you manage, you know.
For sure.
Because when someone is telling you something is one thing, but when you're constantly trying to put this pressure on yourself, it's tough to relax a bit and just enjoy the game.
Yes.
Um,
When I was playing, I really struggled with this. So when I was
Yes.
younger, when I had first gone to Italy, it was like I remember everyone used to say you have to sleep early, you need to wake up, you need to be awake for 3 hours before the game. I know it's not rubbish, but for me it was rubbish because I'm very like I don't know. I used to try and be so prepared, and because of it, I used to build so much energy, and then I just be a mess on court. And so then I figured out like I need to pretend I have nothing and just like be
Exactly.
me, and then I'm good.
Exactly. I'm at the same stage right now. Sometimes, like, I think the more you hype it up in a way,
For
the
me, it's the
more,
worst.
and it's like, even sometimes, like, I try to do something in the morning of a game, just so I won't put so much importance in the game. And then it's like relaxes me, it makes me just trying to enjoy the game only, not the expectations of it. And so coming back from, for example, the second stint of Italy, or even the first stint when you finished out the season with a Maltese team, I was speaking to someone that came is coming from abroad, and there is like this expectation, oh, like you played abroad, you know. So there's a level of expectation as well that you need to perform well in Malta. Did you find that at all, or?
Um, I don't think I. The thing is, like when I was abroad, I put so much pressure on myself, as we talked about, to like do well, and then I realized I wasn't enjoying it. You know what I mean? So I just had the total opposite mind frame from like then on out. That's why I said it taught me so much.
Okay.
Because I was like, I do this for fun, literally.
Yes.
Like even if I get whatever money from it, if I'm not having a good time, I'm my worst self.
Exactly.
So it's like, okay, learn to enjoy it. Like, what's the worst that could happen? You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, 100%.
my way of getting through a basketball game if I have pressure was worst that can happen is not my game. I pass the ball.
Okay.
It's a team sport.
Yeah,
You know what I
course.
mean? So um luckily I had like I realized early that's how I had to see everything, and I think it paid off. I'm sure I was under pressure a lot at points, but I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes as well, like obviously for me, looking at your career, I always thought, and I'm sure everyone thought the same, like it is a team game. But having watched you here, I mean, like you're the person, the go-to person on the team, even in national team level. So, but sometimes I think it helps as well when like you manipulate your mind in a way that you reduce the importance of that. So you can enjoy the game and feel less pressure and just go out there and compete, kind of, you know? And then coming here, and then you had stints with Loyola, with Hips, right?
Yeah.
And with Luxor at the end.
With Luxor, that was how I finished the my career, I guess.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I had a few injuries where like I got to a point. I remember though the season that I quit. I decided I was gonna do the last season, but I was already at a position where I was like, you know what, I'm not sure I'm enjoying it.
Okay.
And for me, if I'm not enjoying it, it's like a killer. Um, and I said I'll do one more year. I had it in my head, and I started with Luxor. I need to finish with Luxor.
Okay.
So I did it, and then I ended up getting injured, and I have a bad habit of if I'm injured, I just keep
Go.
trying,
Okay.
and I ended up in a bit of a mess with my knee.
Okay.
So I stopped, and to be honest, it wasn't a tough decision. Like as soon as I decided I was gonna stop, I like decided I was doing CrossFit or high rocks or whatever I did, and it was I don't really think much about it.
It was
If a ball comes to me, I'm gonna shoot it
Okay.
because luckily I'm here.
You have to.
Exactly.
So then you started struggling with your knee when you came back to Malta.
No, I struggled. The first time I struggled with my knee was I don't remember. I remember it was such a small thing. Like I was in training with National, and I just went to 10, and I just had tick, and I was like, okay.
So it wasn't even on the court.
It was on the court,
Oh,
but
okay.
somebody was holding a block, or I
Okay.
forgot if it's even court. Anyways, and I went to turn around, and as soon as I turned, I just had like a little tick. And I told Angela, who was coach at that point, I said, I'm just going to sit out. Like, I'll be okay tomorrow.
Yeah.
Then I went home and I was like, okay, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
And luckily, within 3 days, I think I did the operation. I had a meniscus tear and I just removed the tear. And because there was national coming up, so everything was so rushed.
Yeah.
And 5, 6 weeks later, I was playing again. So it was very quick. And I probably played the best I've ever played in national. I won MVP. Like, was a big thing for me because I wasn't sure if I was even gonna make that game, and I was fine. Anyways, and then that that kept happening. So it happened again like another 2 years after meniscus, and then I operated always with national. I operated to play, and then it happened when I was abroad. So the last time I played overseas, I believe, with national. Yeah, I had operated. I played.
Always meniscus.
Meniscus.
Okay. And how was that? How was dealing? Or it was always rushed, always 6
It
weeks?
was a bit rushed. I'm like a bit nuts with these things. Okay. I'm my own worst enemy in that sense. Yeah. I just enjoy it so much that I just like think that I'm okay, but it's not the not the case. Yes, unfortunately. Okay. It is what it is. I guess that's the end of my career, anyways.
Yeah. See, I struggle with because I had a couple of injuries as well, and sometimes like when you were away, when you're away of from it as well, isn't even the fact maybe you had like a smaller recovery as well, but like sometimes getting back into it, there's always that level of uncertainty of like, are you going to be the same Christina Grima that was before? I mean, for you it wasn't really Because you are an MVP, so like the confidence comes back.
I feel like my pain threshold is, I'm not great with these things. So if I'm not feeling like I can do it, then I probably won't be able to.
Okay.
So to kind of tell me, I've played games where I couldn't, like, I'd tell my body move and I wouldn't be able to move.
Okay.
So, as in, I was with basketball, it was very hard for me to listen.
Okay.
I feel like now it's a bit easier because I'm just like, I do this for health and longevity. But,
Okay.
and obviously, injuries happen, right?
Yes,
It's part
of course.
But yes, when you're playing in a team, you're always like, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out later. So yes, unfortunately, that did happen.
And it's kind of so recapping your career. What would you say like it was your highest moment or your lowest? But let's start with the positive.
Mm, probably that MVP. It wasn't because of the MVP, but we won. We won. Like it was just a great moment, and I had so many great moments.
Yeah, you had three gold medals. You had two
Yes.
seniors and
My
one youth.
biggest heartache was that I never won a league.
Okay.
So and we were so close, and I had the last shot, and it just went out.
Oh my God.
I remember it so. We talk about it to this
Yeah.
day. It was tough, but yeah. Sometimes I think should I go back just to see if it's even possible, but yeah,
Very think about that.
very rarely, but it does happen.
That's yeah. And would you like or you wouldn't you think?
I don't think I have the. You can always make time, but
Yes.
I think priorities are a little bit different now.
So it's always been a question in your mind, like if you would go back, because you retired quite early.
I mean, I retired because I was injured, and again, I feel like it was the end. To be honest, like I wasn't enjoying it as much. I was doing CrossFit as well, and I was enjoying that a lot more. And so then you kind of have to make a decision if you want to compete. If you just want to do it for health reasons, then that's different. But so I believe that that's why I did. Also, we trained at like 9 p.m.
Yes,
And
yes.
mostly it was because I had worked till 9 p.m. So it's like
Okay.
what I had to do to kind of, not only me, obviously other people too, but it's hard, right? How can you train so late, finish at 10:30, try and sleep with adrenaline, like,
Yeah.
and then wake up at 5 to go coach? Like,
Of course, no, it's super tough.
it was very, wasn't, I wasn't able to keep up that routine. Like, it's hard on the body, it's hard mentally. So again. But I mean, basketball is a great part of my life. So every now and then I'm like,
Maybe.
the comeback. Then I see yourself and I'm like, shall I join?
Esra, I didn't think you were thinking about because so
But I
for me
mean,
like if you but to be honest like at the end of your career when you played in the 3x3 team.
oh, that was so random. I hadn't played for 1 year.
Yeah, and I think 3x3 is like you're obviously very good at 5-on-5, but 3x3 I think
It's
would
my
be
jam.
your jam
I
for
think so
sure
too.
because
Like a
you
lot of
a lot of
space.
space you can go one-on-one and what I mean, I didn't need the confirmation, but when I saw you playing there and you had moments in games which you were unstoppable, you were playing really good. And this is not against San Marino and Andorra. You were playing against Poland, Italy, like big nations, big teams. And you still had that spirit where nobody could touch you, in the court. So is going from there to then stopping. That's the last time you picked the ball, kind of.
No, and I had picked up a ball. Like it was really random how I ended up on that team.
Yeah.
It was very like, I'm not sure if there weren't enough players or because it was a very new sport, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
nobody
yes.
really knew about it.
It's the first time we had gone abroad with the
Uh,
national team.
I remember being at the gym and one of my older teammates told me, "Oh, what do you think about playing again?" And I'm like, sounds interesting. And then I had gone to a few sessions, and then I was abroad playing, and I hadn't played in ages. And I was still trying to learn the rules, right?
Of
Because
course,
it's so
no, that's
different.
different.
You just can go back out to 3 points and then start again. Anyways,
Exactly.
so I mean, if I could redo it, I probably would try and play 3-on-3. No, it's, as I said, it does come into my head every now and then, but it leaves very soon after when you realize that you need to commit to all your teammates and to all the training, and
Of course.
obviously it requires time and energy, and you have to see
Everything,
what
yeah.
needs priority, I guess.
And from all the stints you had, specifically in Malta, I would say, like, which was you thought or you felt the best, or with a teammate, kind of, you felt like you had that connection, both kind of individually and with the teammate?
I think my best memories were growing up in Loyola, to be honest. I have great memories before that, but I was very young, right?
Yeah.
But Loyola was, we had Brian as a coach, who still is a good friend of mine. Felix, who was amazing, and who used to teach us such, like, I don't know, I remember some sayings that just stuck with you. And we used to run suicide still. We were so professional at such a young age, you know what I mean? And we were so close.
Yeah.
It was such a special time. And still to this day, like the group of friends which I built are still very good friends.
Wow.
Not to take away from when I was older, but obviously when you're older,
It's
you're,
different.
yeah, it is very different.
Yes, I feel like sometimes even those under 16 teams, under 14 teams, sometimes like basketball is all you have, you have no other commitments. Obviously, you have school, but like we were so invested in
We were
basketball,
so invested.
you know.
I remember
So,
even doing like a mental camp where I was closing my eyes, and we're all like a bunch of us, boys and girls, like Loyola, and we were doing something which now you would do, like
it's right, that's
psychology.
such.
Yes, where you're imagining yourself playing, and yes, and when I was older, when I was in England, I got like a little scholarship, and this was part of it, like
Okay.
um psychology, I guess. I don't know what.
Yeah.
And they used to take me through something similar, and I was like, wow, I was exposed to this at such a young age.
That's such
Very
so
cool.
good to be
No, I'm
exposed
telling
to.
you, we were like pros at 15. It was so special. We were all so invested, and we were like, we just wanted to be so good, you know what I mean, as a team. Like
Of
all those
course.
movies, it was like we're in a movie.
Of course.
It was very special. It was great.
And and then like you decide to stop playing and you transition into CrossFit.
Yeah.
And from what I saw, like I'm not into CrossFit. I don't know if you can tell. But you still managed to, because like I saw some stats as well. Like in 2024, you were first in Malta, ranked with the CrossFit Games, and like 600 in the world. Which, so you still have that mentality that's kind of you want to be the best, or you just
Yes,
like the
I
movement, I
love
guess.
training. Go. I love I love I love pressure.
Okay.
So like my number one saying is pressure is a privilege. So I love putting myself in certain situations and seeing if I can swim. You know what I mean? And I do it in most things, whether it's work or training. Luckily, I get to do this as well work, so it's
Of course.
um. But yes, I'm always like I always have that ingrained in me. Luckily I was brought up like really trying to push myself, and I found enjoyment in the journey type of thing.
Yeah.
And that's how I do everything. Like I
Okay.
try enjoy it.
Yeah, for me, like I don't get into CrossFit, for example, and I don't even like I go to the gym because I need the gym for basketball. It's like I don't get that level. Like with basketball, I'm competing against someone, you know, and it's different. And I know, like for example, you would say like you can compete against yourself, but that doesn't work for me, kind of. I don't. So how do you get that level of Because I think you applied yourself like you did in basketball into CrossFit, or maybe even more, I don't know. But from the outside looking in, it certainly seems like you applied yourself the same way.
Yes. So for me, so when I went to Sicily, we had like a strength and conditioning coach.
Okay.
And it was very like old school strength and conditioning. And it was more gym and very, I don't know, wasn't the norm, I think. But anyways, so for me, going to the gym was so boring and I felt so heavy. Like I was always strong, but I don't know, whenever I went to the gym and did my strength and conditioning, I just felt slower. And then I started CrossFit randomly because I was walking up and down the basketball court, and there was a CrossFit gym right to Ali. And I started, and I found it so similar, like the feeling of first you're running, then you're lifting a large load, then you walk. You know what I mean? It was such a similar feeling, and also the fact that you have a point to every workout, so there's always like a score made me change how I saw training, you know what I mean? So it was like, okay, so the target for today was to do this as fast as I can, or to lift as heavy as I can, or to, so it was like a different, it was very different to how I was brought up in that realm. And I loved the intensity, I loved the stimulus, I loved it kept my focus always, the fact that I always have a goal for every day. And then when I got into competing, it was, you really have a goal. It's like a proper competition. Like you do have people who you train, who you compete against, but for me that was never it. Like I think even to this day, like if you see me training, I might be alone, but I'll be like just going very hard, just because I give myself a target, and if I don't hit that target, like problems.
So like even in basketball, you never had that player that maybe you saw that she's also really good and you wanted to kind of not go for her, not like in a negative way, but like have that target, have that benchmark that you would look and you say, like, if I'm competing against her, like I need to, it was always you versus you.
Um, I can't say I'm not competitive in that sense. Like I'm always gonna try and do as best as I could. Didn't matter who there was in front of me. I'm sure there were some instances, and I'm sure till today, but it's not the person, right? It's like I'm gonna try and do the best that I can do.
No, no,
Hopefully, it's
sure,
better
yeah.
than anyone else.
No, no, for sure.
I don't know. I don't know. As in, I'm always gonna try. Like, as I said, I'm gonna compete against anyone, but then whoever wins wins. You know.
Of course, of course. So for you, like the transition, and like as you said before, like going through what you went through as a player, even through injuries and stuff, I'm sure it makes you a better coach here, because experience kind of is the best teacher in certain moments, especially when you go through, because I'm sure here, like you go through it, and mentally it's the biggest struggle. If you have that target, which I'm sure your target is very hard to reach, so to every day have that mental focus is something.
Yes, it's something which I have, like the motivation you're talking about, right?
And the discipline that you have, because to do it for such a long period,
Yeah,
there
been
needs
like
to be an
30
element of
years doing this.
only CrossFit, because before you had discipline and motivation and basketball.
Yes. But it's something which comes up with coaching. So for me, a lot of athletes, a lot of my athletes will tell me I'm not feeling motivated. If I don't see them in the gym, I'll be like, well, where are you? I don't know, I'm not feeling motivated, right? I can't stand this word. It kills me.
Motivation.
Because it's a feeling. Like you build your own motivation. You build it through consistency, coming in like relentlessly. And then one day you feel good and you're like, you love me, I can't wait till tomorrow. And that tomorrow usually comes and you'll be like, I really don't feel it. But you just do it anyway, you know what I mean? And like, I don't know, motivation is wrong. It's a conversation which I have on the daily. Like I can't take it. Because yes, you need to feel motivated, but motivation comes through consistency. So you just need to be consistent. You need to just come in, get the work done. On some days you'll feel good, on some days you won't, and that's that. Like,
So, but it's a rare thing to have that mindset. It's not something that I don't know a lot of people. I mean, I know a lot of people who are the same, but it's a mindset that obviously it got you where it got you because abroad you were playing really well. You won MVPs. Obviously, you were 600 in the world in the CrossFit thing. So I'm pretty sure those are very tough things to achieve. But it's difficult even to maintain it, you know. So you obviously I'm pretty sure you have days where you wake up and you don't feel like coming here.
So often,
Yeah.
more so than others, I feel, because
Yeah.
I work where I train. So it's harder, you know what I mean? Usually you want to work and then you want to leave work. So I work, and then when I'm off work, I train, I stay at work. So it is harder, but obviously, if you have these goals, if you don't put in the work, you're really not going to be motivated when all of a sudden you have this test and you're not ready for
Of
it. You know
course.
what I mean? So it's like,
And then you
you
feel
have to,
anxious about it as well.
yes.
If
So
you're not
I like
ready.
pressure, but I can't put too much pressure. Like, I can't go in knowing I have this goal, I have this goal. I loosely have a goal, and I know it's coming. And then I go in and do the work, and then try and find joy in the work that I do. Like, okay, might not be a great day, but all of a sudden I'm enjoying squatting. I hate squatting, so, but you know what I mean? I just keep doing it. Okay, today wasn't so bad. And then all of a sudden I'm feeling motivated. Like, but yes, I like pressure as in a goal, but then I can't always be so pressured. I feel like that's where people tend to
Break, kind of.
because they put too much emphasis on it,
Yeah.
and then it's like all or nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas if you just see it like you're gonna do this forever, then
Yeah. To be honest, I completely understand. Like before I went to the US, you should always contemplate of stopping for various reasons because sometimes, obviously, I've been disciplined through my career, but sometimes the people around you they don't help the situation, especially basketball. Like, and for example, here, I would say like if you're doing CrossFit, because this happened, I went to do jiu-jitsu for a while, and it was kind of like here, it was obviously you pay. It's not something free like basketball. But sometimes when even though I'm paying for the service, when you see your coach motivated, trying new things, you know, it's sometimes I think we lack in basketball sometimes. We're very complacent in what we do. If you ask for certain things, it's kind of like a big deal. So that's another thing that you won't be motivated by. But when I contemplated stopping and then kind of stepping away and realizing certain things help you to go into it even
you get
better.
motivation again.
Yes, even to release that pressure from myself.
I
Kind
mean,
of.
for me in CrossFit, there are different types of CrossFit. Like, there's you can go run. You know what I mean? You're still
Yeah.
gonna be getting better at CrossFit. You can decide to do high rocks. You can decide to go swimming. You're still essentially getting better at
That's what I suppose, yeah.
CrossFit. So I think like different goals definitely help. Um, Probably same with basketball. Like the fact that I'm not sure. Do you have an off season with basketball?
Yeah.
So like
You mean
trying new
like training?
sports, it's
Ah, of
like
course. Yeah.
when you should. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
nice to have a break. It's important.
No, it is.
But I used to be like you keeping fit and doing something different is still pushing towards your basketball.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And jiu-jitsu is like you get flexible and
Yeah.
strong. And
I started late though.
what's
I can't get flexible now.
Yes,
No,
it comes. It takes time, but it comes.
that does take time. It does take time, but we'll try. So, and then you never thought about getting into basketball?
What again?
Yeah, not playing wise, even coaching,
Ah,
that scene.
I never really thought about it, to be honest. Sometimes I'll randomly drive and say how strange I didn't get into it in that sense. But I mean, wouldn't say I'm young, but like
I think you're very young to be a coach or
and I
what.
feel like the sky's the limit. Like, and I'd never say I would never do it, but if the time was right and I was into it, because again, I have to be enjoying it to do it, then why not? As in, I coach fitness, so kind of similar.
So you would want to, or you would, it's
I know,
something that
like,
would
it's.
intrigue you if the opportunity
I
was
don't
right.
know. I don't know if it's the case of an opportunity presenting myself or me being in the mind frame of saying, okay, you know what, now I'd like to do something else and I'd like to give back to basketball. But I mean, it could happen.
Because I think something that we lack here, like for example, you, Michael Naudi, like there's a lot of players, Steve, there, like, and
Just stopped.
they just stop and they don't coach, which I understand for a lot of reasons. I mean, but if you put those reasons aside, because for example, I was coaching with Starlights, I mean, the pay was really not
I
great.
don't think you do it for the pay.
No, you don't. But at certain moments where money is important in your life,
Then you have to.
then you have to prioritize something.
Yes, for sure.
And I mean, if you get, and I'm not saying you get 3K a month, to coach, like I understand that's not realistic, but if you get 400 a month, at least you try to convince yourself that it's worth it to do it.
To be honest, me being me, I would probably pour everything into it if I
Yeah,
decided to do something. That's how I am.
Exactly.
So it definitely wouldn't be money related, but I think it would have to be a time in my life where I have a bit more time and I have energy, and because I can imagine it to be a lot of fun if you do have the time for it, like especially with youths, because I feel like with adults,
Yeah,
with the
seniors.
old with seniors, they've already built their habits and they already have their mind frames of how they want to be, which would be really difficult for me.
Yeah.
I'd like to if if I would coach, then I would like to kind of help mold an athlete from the ground up. You know what I mean? When they can be molded and when they haven't built habits, when they're still trying to figure out. And it really has nothing to do with basketball, it has to do with life.
No, of course, 100%. And when I worked with 19s, and it wasn't the A team, it was the B team, which to be honest, like I enjoyed even more because sometimes, like when you work with, and 19 is at an age where kind of you already build certain things as well. 19B were mostly under 16 players, so you can try to give them an idea of situations and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think you would be good for it, and I think a lot of players, ex-players, would be really good for it. But I think what kind of stops us from going to that next level is that people like you are not in the game. Certain advice, even having this conversation with you, certain mentality, like what we spoke about, and you having the name of Christina Grima, kind of, if they look back, like you're not just talking about it, you did what you had to do. So kind of that gives you an even greater validation. Me speaking to Michael, for example, and he tells me certain things, like you would respect his opinion even more because he's the player that he is. So I think sometimes that is something that we lack, like having these players. We keep these players, like obviously you can have tripod or whatever, but like you would be involved in certain things. I think if you had the opportunity, maybe I don't know, like if you would take it or not, but it's just sometimes that you didn't even get presented the opportunity.
But I mean, even if I got presented the opportunity, I wouldn't know the first thing about coaching basketball. You know what I mean? I would need to kind of study a little bit, um, playing and coaching. I think I'd be able to coach fitness for sure. They would be really fit athletes, but in terms of, I mean, maybe fundamentals and stuff like that, that would be something which would be a little bit easier. But then I feel when you're coaching a like older, then you're gonna get into tactics and then that would be a whole different game.
No, of course. But sometimes I think like with the youths, like having good habits
yeah,
and having a
for
good
sure.
mentality is 70% of the battle, because And then obviously tactics you have to like obviously
That's
it's something
with
which
experience, I
it
guess,
is
and with
important. But I think having people with the right mindset and the right
For sure.
positions is more important than
for
being
sure.
good with your right hand, for example, you know, like
Yes, for sure. And when I was younger, I was exposed to exactly that. So I really see the benefit in kind of um, being more aware, I guess, of everything. Like, as in, yes, fundamentals are important, but we got taught so much more, you know what I
of
mean?
course, of course.
So that's, I saw that, like, I see that value now. And if I would ever coach, I would want to do the exact same thing.
Of course. And to be honest, the older you get, the more you appreciate those
100%.
lessons that you get over. It's
Special days.
it is special days. It's Rahna. That's it. I think that's true. What's up, good? Yeah.
Nice.
You have something to add? Maybe I don't know.
It's
Okay.
been really nice. Thanks
Nice
for
meeting
having
you.
me. Um,
Yeah, hopefully we'll see you in some kind of basketball role because I still, obviously, I don't want to put pressure, although pressure is a privilege. But it's so invaluable so people like you to keep them in the game in some way and somehow. I think it's very important.
I mean, I'm sure the time will come when
Of course,
I
yeah.
can give back. I guess it brought like I've gotten so much out of the sport. As I said, I still talk about it on the daily, like with my athletes and with my teammates. It taught me so much, and I'm sure the time will come when I have a bit more time and I'd want to kind of get more involved as from a coach's perspective. I guess from an athlete's perspective, every time I think about it, it's just a bit far fetched because I am getting older, but you never know.
Not for half a season. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.